Hello, lovely souls. Welcome to the Conversation with MJ, where we are going to embark on a journey of connection, growth, discovery together. I'm your host, MJ, and I'm thrilled to have you join me on this exhilarating ride through realms of inspiration, wisdom, and insight. So we're going to deep dive into the heart of what it means to live a fulfilling life, to pursue our passions, and to unlock our greatest potential. Each episode is a celebration of human connection and a testament to the power of authenticity and a reminder that we are all on this journey together. So get ready to be inspired, get ready to be empowered, and get ready to ignite your inner fire, because here at Conversations with MJ, the adventure never ends. So join us with every moment an opportunity to shine. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, please leave a comment, and the show will be starting shortly. See you soon. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Anybody that's just falling in, how are you doing today? I hope you're having a great Thursday. I'm having a great Thursday too. So shout out to anybody who are in here. Please hit the like button, comment, and subscribe. So as y'all can see, I'm in a very good mood. I'm in a very, very good mood. And I've been dying to actually really just get back to the type of content that I was always doing, things that I love, which is psychology, understanding and dissecting the mind, real finding out why we do the things that we do, what makes us tick, what makes us react the way that we do. And shout out to Dr. Ramani. Dr. Romney is a well-known doctor of psychology. She specializes in narcissism. Her whole channel is based on that, right? Her whole channel is based on narcissism steps, things that you need to do, things that you need to look out for, the red flags, how you can counterattack a narcissist attack. And 4 days ago, she made a video that I wanted to go over with you guys because I found it very, very interesting. She made a video, and the video was about narcissism, of course, but it was on it's dissecting the double standards that narcissism had, right? And because most people, they believe that when we hear about narcissism, we always talk about it in the broadest type of aspect of things. We'll talk about someone, certain mannerisms and things that they do, and we'll say that this person is a narcissist, but there are specific traits of an individual being a narcissist, specific traits, right? But we can still identify those things, or if someone is trying to manipulate you, as if they were a narcissist. Mind you, I am not clinically licensed to say who is a narcissist and who's not, and I won't pretend that I am. However, I thought that it would be great to review Dr. Ronnie's channel the video that I want to show you. But before we do that, I'm going to share my screen because I want people to understand what are some of the traits that you see with a person who could have a narcissistic personality disorder. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen. Hold on one second. Get to see if I can get this up. All right. I hope you guys can see this. It's kind of like small. All right, there we go. All right. So just for me just doing a Google search, right? And they give you an AI review. They said narcissistic personality disorder, also known as NPD, is a chronic condition that can be diagnosed by a medical professional, right? So, like I said, we can say, oh, I see the signs, I see the traits, I see the mannerisms, and I see the behaviors. But unless a person is diagnosed by someone who is clinically licensed to diagnose an individual, everything at that point will be speculation, right? But I wanted to go over some of the symptoms that we see. Oh yeah, yes, exactly. Yes. I've seen her too. That I watched her stuff there too, TMKC. She's really, really good. I really do enjoy her. I really do enjoy her. So some of the symptoms includes grandiose sense of self-importance, right? So people with NPD may exaggerate their talents and achievements, expect to be recognized as superior, and believe they are special in quotation marks. They may also have an unreasonable sense of entitlement and expect favorable treatment. So as we know, I think I stated this before, maybe a couple live streams ago. And shout out to the beautiful Flora Bella, who me and her, we had a live stream about maybe a week or so, a week and a half ago, where we were dissecting narcissism. And her live stream is it was like when a narcissist blows up, or the fall of a narcissist, how what will it look like and how it look like. So please go check that out. We did very well on that live stream. But yes, a grandiose self of importance. Most people want confidence, right? And we want people in general to have confidence in themselves, right? And to have that, we use our ego to have that. But there's supposed to be a balance when we use our ego, right? Our ego is never meant to put another person down. Our ego is never meant to lower another person's self-esteem. Our ego is meant to build ourselves up as a self mechanism, self-esteem mechanism. So the things that we fear that we're not going to be able to obtain, or we're not going to be able to be successful in, you are giving yourself your own prep rally, or you're being your own cheerleader for you to push through your fears to get exactly what you want. That is how you're supposed to actually use your ego. Your ego is never supposed to basically make yourself immortal amongst other people, and that everything that you say and do is right and just and cannot be checked, it cannot be verified. That's not what your ego is for, right? So a person who might have symptoms of a narcissistic personality disorder, they will have this grandiose sense of self-importance. They're so special. Everybody wants them. Everybody wants to be around them. They are doing more than what you think they're doing. The people who lie and say that they have money, but then we can look at their life and know that they really don't have the money that they talk about. We see a lot of these type of things happen online with people, right? People putting on great facades about themselves and their situation online. And then when you actually really do the background check, shout out to the researchers of the of the platform. Shout out to all the researchers of the platform who do their due diligence. When you find out these people actually really do not live the life that they claim or they say that they do online to us, right? And it's because we have that barrier where they can just show you what they want to show you. That's what the internet allows people to do, because you can literally click on your camera, click it off, and whatever you say on camera, people are only going to take what you say on camera as face value until given more information in detail, right? Then we have preoccupation with fantasies. So people with NPD may be preoccupied with fantasies of success, power, beauty, intelligence, or ideal love. So, for example, if you have someone who is out there pretty much saying that I am successful and I have all this power, right? They'll use phrases as I am invincible. I always win. I win again. Hey, Sir Hassan, how you doing? Good to see you, sir. Good to see you. But they'll say things like that, right? Oh, I'm so beautiful. Nobody's more beautiful than me. None of y'all can test me. None of y'all can check me in that department. Or they say, I'm more smarter than you. I know more than you. You don't know nothing. I know more than you. And then the ideal love, right? I'm in the best situation ever. This person is amazing, and all the stuff like that. Those are signs of preoccupation with fantasies, right? They want to exude that the things that they desire is so prevalent, and it's not. Then you have lack of empathy. So these a person who might have NPD, they will have little ability to feel empathy and may disregard the feelings of others. They may also be critical of and look down on people they feel are not important. So they lack empathy, right? They disregard other people's feelings and views and stuff like that. Oh, hi. Hello, Truth and Tequila. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Thank you very much for coming. Oh, so yeah, we're just going over Truth and Tequila. We're just going over what are symptoms of narcissistic personality disorder. And then I wanted to show a video for a well-known YouTube content creator named Dr. Ramani. She is a psychologist. She specializes in narcissism or narcissistic personality disorders. And she did a video 4 days ago in reference of talking about the double standards that happens when you're dealing with someone who is narcissistic or shows high level traits of narcissism, right? And we're going to go through that. This is not going to be a long live stream, guys, because, MJ is busy. MJ got life to live. Like, I literally had to purchase some tickets because I'm going back to the things that I used to do, things that's very culture. So I have a piano recital in Manhattan next week that I'm going to go to, and it's going to be beautiful and I'm going to enjoy it. So yeah, I have things to do and things to worry about. But let's continue. So we have exploitation. So people with NPD may take advantage of others to achieve their own goals. They may use charm and manipulation to get what they want or engage in exploitative relationships. So a person who may have narcissistic personality disorder exploitates people, right? They use people. They'll use people as friendships. They'll use people as in relationships. They'll use charm and manipulation to try to get what they want. There's always an end goal and a reason why they do things, right? They'll like, it's, for example, we see it so many times in these spaces, right? We'll have individuals, they'll go to their channel and they'll say that they don't like a person, or they'll say that they're in an argument or whatever with a person, but then you will catch that same individual and the person that they was just talking about maybe a couple of hours ago, you will catch them right in their chat. You will catch them trying to get attention for the person that they was just talking about. We see it all the time. And we know why, because in this, when it comes down to online, a lot of the networking that goes on with content creators is on the basis of creating uh internet beef. I think that's quotation marks. Trying to solidify connection and favoritism amongst different content creators, trying to make other content creators have to pick and choose loyalty versus of what they need to do, which is network, build their channel, and monetize off of it, right? But then there's a framework that is brung out here on these type of platforms, because doesn't only just go on YouTube. This goes on many other different platforms like Twitter, IG, things of that sort, right? They will create these networking relationships. They'll put a fake stamp of friendship on it, and then they will hold you accountable for you to have this form of loyalty, when clearly, when all is said and done, it was just business. So we have to really look at the exploitation, and like I said, just sit back and think about it. Have you ever seen that happen before? Have you ever seen that happen with content creators that you love? Have you as a viewer ever felt that you was put in a situation where you had to pick being subscribed to one person or another, and you felt that the people that you both like watching put you in that position? So just think about those things. Those are things to really think about. The next one is arrogance. So people with NPD may behave in condescending ways, such as having a high and mighty attitude or snobness. They may also react to criticism with rage, shame, or humiliation. So yeah, arrogance is one of the big things I have also witnessed on social media, right? Because the person do have this kind of elitism type of situation. Now, mind you, just like how I started this before, there is nothing wrong about having confidence. There's nothing wrong by using your ego, because we all have an ego. There's nothing wrong with using your ego to help be like your own cheerleader to reach other set goals that you have for yourself that you might be fearful that you're not going to obtain. But what's happening, the individuals who may have NPD, the arrogance that they have is that you cannot tell them no wrong. There is no critiquing somebody who has NPD. A person who has NPD doesn't take good criticism. They feel that they have all the answers, they have all the tools. There's nothing that you can tell them. You know, there's nothing that you can tell them. You can't tell them, hey, listen, you might be messing up. I understand your what the message is, but your delivery could be off and it can rub people the wrong way. A person with NPD will say, how dare you tell me about my delivery of the message? I thought it was perfect. I thought it was profound. Well, here's something like, hey, well, if the message was meant for you, you would understand it. And if you didn't understand it, it wasn't meant for you. Now, there is messages that we do say to each other that is meant for certain people, certain groups, certain sectors, genders, whatever not. However, if you're trying to actually reach a broad audience to get your message out, usually the best public speakers speak in a broad way where everybody feels that they're included. Everybody feels that they're special. Everybody feel that this important information is meant for us. That's the difference. So these are like some of the main ones. I'm gonna see if they have any other ones. They do have any other ones, but they said other symptoms per se for a narcissistic personality disorder person is they have a obsessive self-interest, pursue many selfish goals, and have frequent envy. And you know what I can tell you? I totally agree. I absolutely agree. They do envy. They envy people's situations, circumstances. They tend to uh always have something to say, right? Something to say about someone's circumstances. And their self-interest, like meaning that they'll do something that they know would affect other people. But because they're selfish and they can't think of anybody outside of themselves, hurting other individuals doesn't matter. All right, we see this even on YouTube, right? An individual will worry about themselves so much, but then in fact we will tell like we will give good advice. We'll tell an individual, hey, if you do this, this can affect your livelihood. If you do this, this can affect your family. If you do this, this can affect your relationship. We'll tell them these things, right? But they're not even thinking about those said individuals. They're not thinking about the things that they say, the things that they do, and how they conduct themselves online can hurt the very people that you say that you're doing this for, which in fact will let anybody who's halfway common with common sense will know that you're not really acting in the best interest of others, you're acting in the best interest of yourself. So that's how you can know that obsessive self-interest and purely only on selfish goals with the hen of envy. Let's see. Hey Royce, how you doing? Let's see. He said, "Ooh, oh yes, yeah. Even if your own business, absolutely, yes, absolutely." And let's see. Royce said, I think narcissists are triggered by real confidence. Yes, they are. That's the envy. That is definitely the envy. And hey, Jalen, how you doing? Thank you for coming. That is one of the realest envy because a true confident person do not have to put other people down. A true confident person, they don't have to make another person feel inferior or have low self-esteem for them to still be perceived as someone who has high confidence. In fact, a narcissist will let you know that they don't have any confidence. They're very low in confidence. And this is why they have to break a person down to maintain this, what we said earlier, grandiose self of grandiose self of importance, grandiose self of importance. That's why they have to do it. So yeah, facts, they uplift them. Yeah. Hi, how you doing? No captivity. Thank you for showing up, sir. I appreciate you. Thank you. Yeah. So now we're going to move on to the next part. Let me stop sharing my screen. And now we're going to review Dr. Ramani's live stream, and it's on the basis of the double standards of narcissism. So I do hope that you enjoy it. She normally does not She normally doesn't flag anybody. I think she really do want this information out. So she doesn't do that. So this is why I love using her stuff. So we're going to go over this. This is not very long. So let's just hear what she has to say. And I hope that I have the sound on. I think I have the sound on. Let's see.
It doesn't matter if someone is a vulnerable or grandiose or malignant or communal or self-righteous narcissist. All of them are entitled. It may come out in different ways. The vulnerable narcissistic person's entitlement is a sort of failure to launch, I deserve more from the world, victimized kind of entitlement. The grandiose narcissist entitlement is more of a sachet to the head of the line and say I'm a VIP entitlement. The malignant entitlement is more of a you will do as I say because I said it, menacey entitlement. The self-righteous entitlement is more of a I am right and morally superior, so it's my way or the highway entitlement. The communal entitlement is a everyone has to do what I say because I am a savior and what I'm doing is actually more important than the rest of you because I help people. But at the core of it all, it's entitlement. The sense that they are more special than you, that their needs are more important, that they are entitled to better treatment, that they're just simply more important than other people, and that they can say and do what they want without any consequence or taking any responsibility because they are somehow special. Research.
So I wanted to stop there. Just put a one in the chat. Did y'all actually hear what she was just stating? So that's why I wanted to go over the symptoms first before we started reviewing her channel. But hit a one in the chat if you actually heard the video. Just to let me know that the sound is on, please. All I need is one, just one in the chat. Did you hear the video? And if you didn't hear the video, please press 2. Oh, you did. Thank you, TMKC, darling. Thank you. I appreciate it. So I wanted to stop there because that is what some of the narcissists or people who have narcissistic personality disorders do. They feel that they have special treatment. They feel that they can do whatever they want. They tend to say that they are invincible and that nobody can touch them. They're untouchable, right? They always win. No matter what you do, they're always going to win the situation or win the scenario. And I wanted you to hear for herself first. Oh yes, definitely no captivity. You are 100%, sir. They are. But here's the thing, Mr. Freezy, you might not even know. I did some digging and research, and it was kind of alarming, right? That they said that 30 million or 10% of the adult population in America. So this is only for America. 10% of the adult population in America falls in the dark triad, which is psychopathy, narcissism, and what's the other one? Oh, Machiavellism, right? So that means 30 million. 30 million people, grown adults, falls in either 3 categories of the dark triad. And that is very, very alarming. That's very alarming. And that's something to really worry about, because that means that you can talk to somebody in your regular life, talk to 10 people a day, and 1 out of those 10 people is a narcissist. 1 out of those 10 people are a narcissist. And what's even scarier than that is that 1 out of 5 people can score high of having a psychopathy, meaning that they have all the high traits of a psychopath. So now when it comes down, he said, "Don't call me Mr. Freezy." Okay, no problem. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to make you seem oh, Mr. Freezy. I like to be polite to people who's always polite to me. So I like to call you by, the proper greeting when you're addressing someone. I'm sorry, I'm old school. It is what it is. Yes, but that is crazy, right? So 1 out of 10 people that you meet or you come across in your life in a day can be a narcissist, and then 1 out of 5 people you come across in your day can score high on psychopathy, meaning they have all the traits and the capabilities to be a serial killer. And this is how dangerous it is out here, right? That you don't even know who you're speaking to. The bad thing about that is that this also applies online. We're speaking to so many different people throughout the day, throughout the months, weeks, years, online, and we are never even thinking that the conversations that we're even having with people online, that 1 out of 10 of them can be a narcissist. 1 out of 10 of them can be a sociopath. 1 out of 10 of them could be a psychopath. And then now let's incorporate when we start to form relationships with said individuals that we don't know because we're not really trained as a society or even as a community. We're not really trained to see the actual signs of a person who dabbles within the dark triad. And then now we have the good intentions. Now we have the being gullible or hopeful, right? That the person that you are talking to, the person that you are networking with, doing business with, that person could have a narcissistic personality disorder. That person can be a sociopath with hidden agendas, or that person can downright be a serial killer. So it's very, very important. It's very important to be as to use our vetting mechanisms as much as possible. In this day and age, in this world, we have to really, really do it. We cannot be so easily to give out personal information or data about ourselves. We no longer can afford to be that open as people, as citizens, as civilians, you know? Let's see. World Class said, it's important to know what you're talking to when speak. Yes, yes, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And that's the truth. That's the sickening part about it too, right? Because right now we have, says TMKC, we have almost 20 people viewing it right now, so far for what I see. And that is literally telling us that one individual in here, by probability, one in fact scores as a narcissist or a sociopath. That is insane, isn't it? It's quite scary. Quite scary. But then you wouldn't know, right? Because as of right now, everybody who's talking in the chat is someone that I have spoken to numerous of times. I enjoy their commentary. I enjoy when they speak, right? Haven't shown any signs of alarming, of being, to be alarming about them. And you just don't know. So Freezy said, also, what about the people who don't have 100% of the traits, but still have the majority of them? Are these people just as harmful? So those people who have the traits, right? And I'll say this, Freezy. Most people have traits that fall into all the dark triad. It's is the really what's depending on is whether if they have normal levels that matches the average population, or if they have extreme levels. Now, the individuals who have extreme levels when it comes down to psychopathy, we know them as our serial killers, right? There's most people today are not serial killers. We had a big back in the 70s, in the 80s, the summer of Sam, and people, Jeffrey Dahmer, those people, they we had our season of high psychopaths and serial killers. The last stats that I shown that people who have been unalived by serial killers have decreased dramatically, especially in the 2000s. I think a lot of the deaths or the homicides that's been out here, it's like 1 in 5 has been actually been done by a serial killer or someone who has been perceived to be a serial killer. So we're not dealing with as many serial killers. However, the numbers, and on the flip side, the numbers is that narcissism or sociopaths have increased in over the years of when we was having high serial killer counts and homicides. Narcissism and sociopath have increased, and it has increased dramatically, especially in the US population. And then we're not even talking about children. That's the bad thing. I'm only talking about adults. I have to do a little bit more research and thinking when it comes down to the children, right? But for adults, our numbers have grown dramatically. We had a lot of life-changing events, especially in the US population. Us being online have done us a disservice. It has really have done us a disservice. It has actually increased our narcissistic capacity, right? Then on top of that, we have Machiavellianism as well. So, for example, like I said, it's all about the levels, but we all have it. We all have traits of it, and and mind you, like TMKC said, highly functioning, right? And when you're a psychopath, or you score high on psychopathy, you are highly functioning. Like, most people would not know that you are a psychopath, because there's two things that's happening, right? The first thing that's happening, that you might have high traits of psychopathy, but you're also score very high on being empathetic and caring of others, right? So because you are an empathetic person, you don't dream about hurting anybody. You don't dream about doing anything poorly or anything against the law or unjust to individuals. You don't even think about things like that, right? But that doesn't mean that you don't have the capability, and that does not mean that does not mean that if you wanted to act in that way, that you would not be successful. You could. You could. The difference between a sociopath and the difference between a psychopath is that a sociopath goes through many ranges of emotion. They have hot and cold variations of their emotion. 1 minute they are boiling, they're 0 to 100. The next minute they are full on depressed. They're like, oh, I want to end my life. Oh, life is too hard. I don't got no money. Like I said, just think about some people, right? Just think about it. Just think about some of your interactions with individuals. If there will be individuals who be like, I'm the shit, I'm the bomb, I want to dance and all that stuff like that, right? And then if you would actually hear them when they're down and out, or they don't have any money or anything like that, it's woe is me. oh, the world is so cruel. Everybody's against me. The world's against me. I just need to die. I need to just get, or I just need to go. They just go through real extremes. But a psychopath doesn't have large ranges of emotions. They actually tend to stay very flat. So if they lost a loved one in their life, the way how they would act if they were lost a loved one in their life is the same way that how they were act if they saw someone get unalived in front of them. The same emotion. It's very flat because they're already detached from the situation. They don't understand it. It doesn't make sense to them per se in their mind. They're very detached to from their emotions. The only time you see them act like they're concerned about what's going on or they feel like they have any emotional is when you have a psychopath that has a hidden agenda to hurt you. Then him or she will pretend to be sympathetic, tend to be like, oh my God, how can I help you? Oh, this is so sad. What are we going to do? But truly, their range of emotion is so flat. It's a flat line, totally a flat line. Yes, they do fall under the bipolar disorder too. Yeah. And let's see what World Class said. How you doing, sir? He said the increase comes from the consumerism being a substitute for identity. I agree too. Yes, consumerism has literally people lost their identity per se. People don't have any identity outside of materialistic things and the perceived lifestyles that they want to live. Like they don't. Like we have pictures and videos and movies and everybody and everything that's telling us that we're supposed to live this way, we're supposed to move this way, we're supposed to conduct ourselves this way, we're supposed to talk this way. So if we're being conditioned to believe that, right, and it's also partial for society, right, because we have rules and regulations and stuff like that in society that tells us how we're supposed to behave, how we're supposed to think, and how we're supposed to talk and address. That does take away from one's own personal identity outside of that. Like, if you really think about it, wouldn't that be what a criminal is, right? A criminal in nature? A criminal in nature is an individual who wants to do exactly what he wants to do outside of the barriers that society holds them. He don't feel like he has to give up robbing a bank. I need money. I need to rob a bank. I know that the bank has money and I need to go over there to the bank and get the money. That's how they process things. You see what I'm saying? Oh, a serial killer, whatever now, or I'll say a killer per se, right? This person harmed me. This person harmed my ego, or this person offended me in some way, and it's my right for me to harm them, bodily harm them, or take their lives. Even though that the law will say, no, you don't get a right to take somebody's life. You only should be taking somebody's life in defense of yourself or defense of others. You can't tell a criminal that. He's like, no, you step on my sneakers, you step on my new Jordans or my new Nikes, my new Air Force Ones, and I need to take your head off. This is what they believe. You can't tell them anything different. No, Royce. No. Sociopaths has high frequency emotions because sociopaths fall under antisocial personality disorder. They actually changed the name to antisocial personality disorder I say about a couple of years ago. So sociopath falls under that. Sociopath is literally aligned with narcissism. Let's see. No Chaser. I first experienced that with the movie Mean Girls. Everything projected from that movie projected into high school popularity. Yes. Yes, absolutely. Mean Girls was a very good example about that. A very good example. I think that's why, because I'm gonna keep it 100 with you guys. Like, I've seen Mean Girls numerous of times, and I never really thought that it was like a movie that should be remembered, right? It's not like the Marlon Wayans movie, White Chicks, right? That's a memorable movie. That's a memorable movie. But Mean Girls is actually memorable, right? Is actually, people actually remember me. They literally did a Broadway of Mean Girls. They did a whole singing movie. What you call those things again? Musical. They did a whole musical movie on Mean Girls. It's on Netflix right now. It's crazy. It's crazy. And you would think, well, wait a minute, how is this movie so impactful? But just to Nose Chase's comment, it showed a lot of the things that were going on in high school, a lot of the manipulation, a lot of the peer pressure. No, don't worry about it, Royce. Don't worry about it. Like, just go ahead and review it again, sir. Like, go to psychology.com, right? And or you can go to the, what is it? The national I forgot what it's called, but it's the actual website, National Psychology of what's the name, and you can actually look. They changed sociopath and narcissism. All that falls under antisocial personality disorder. That's what they're calling it now, because they added some of the traits and symptoms that they're showing, that is showing in the LGBTQIXA community. There are some of those traits and things that they're showing in that community is falling under antisocial personality disorder. So yeah. World Class, you ain't never see it? Well, I mean, I would think that would be your type of movie to watch. So I'm not too surprised about that. I'm not too surprised about that at all. Like, that's what you would call a chick flick. So no Chaser, he probably watched that movie because he was with a girl. So let's continue.
Research has clearly shown that entitlement is the consistent through line of narcissism, and is one of those qualities of narcissism that is bothersome, whether you are a stranger meeting the narcissistic person for the first time, or if you've known them for years. The entitled person takes very good care of themselves. They demand what they want from everyone. And many, many entitled people will actually pitch this as a good quality in themselves. They'll actually say, and not feel bad about it, say, I know what I want. I know what I deserve, so I go get it. Or they're just assertive, or they'll say, like, I paid more, so I deserve more. And they really say those things without, like, cringing at all. It's not the deserving or the assertiveness or even getting the product or service or experience they deserve. It's the belief that they deserve it more than anyone else. There is a line that many people, for example, might be waiting in at a store or something, but somehow they believe they don't deserve waiting in that line. But I guess the rest of us do, right? So entitlement inherently carries within it a lack of awareness of the needs or wants or time of other people. The entitled person will demand that someone changes a seat with them on an airplane so they can sit next to someone they want, with little regard for the fact that they are offering a less good seat to the person they are asking to switch with them, or without regard for the idea that that person chose that seat for a deliberate reason. The entitled person will snap their fingers at a busy server and wonder why they aren't getting served when there are 4 other tables who have been waiting longer than them. The entitled person will yell at the parking lot attendant about why there are not enough parking spots and that they are very late and this isn't fair, while there is a line of 20 other cars waiting for the same parking lot. The entitled friend with money will get very nasty with you when you can't just go out to dinner because you don't have the money or the child care or access to other resources that they have. They believe, entitled people believe, that their problems are worse than anyone else's, and entitled people think we want or need to hear them.
So, yeah, that is true. And but see this then again, here's world class says so they think they're me basically. Oh god. So here's the thing, right? I love her breakdown of this, right? Because we have all done it. And this is why I say that it takes a person who is licensed to actually diagnose, and because we all have those traits. We all have waited at a restaurant to be seated and saw another family or another group of six or group of three or whatever. They came in after you, and you saw them get seated before you. She died. What you a hot mess. She's not. She's not white. World class. Like. But yeah, we have all done it. We have gotten annoyed about it, right? And then we have had, like, sometimes we will wait for to be seated at a concert or to get our food, and somebody else got their food before you, right? And you would become annoyed, right? And I think with her example, the reason what she's talking about, I think she's talking about only pertaining to a person who is narcissist or who has that narcissistic personality disorder, because she's leaving out the semantics of society. She's leaving out the semantics of business. She's leaving out other things that happens in that process as to why you get irritated, and there is a sense of I need to be served or treated in that manner, right? Because in this type of example that she was giving, if you, let's say, it leaves out the fact that there is discrimination, right? Especially if you come to especially if you come to if you're in America, or even the discriminations that happens in different countries when it comes down to people of color, or specifically Black Americans, right? There's literally restaurants that will say that you're not allowed to be there. There'll be restaurants that will literally have you sit there, wait for a whole hour, and you saw three different sets of family come in, get seated, and left the restaurant, paid for their meal, and left the restaurant before you even got served or even got seated yet, right? So I don't want you to take everything, as she say, as for face value, because she's leaving out all the other things that happens where it's becomes there is a reason why, there's a reason why you're feeling a certain type of way, right? There's a reason why you're standing up for yourself, right? So don't necessarily take it, don't take it too hard too much if you have done that before. Going to a restaurant and say, wait a minute, where's my table? I've been sitting here for 30 minutes or so, or my food doesn't seem like it's cooked, or my food is cold and somebody else came in and their food was fresh. Don't feel like she's necessarily saying that you have those traits. She's just saying that a person who has a narcissistic personality disorder think of themselves in entitlement in that way, that the whole world is supposed to stop and bend for them. Hey Robin, how you doing? Good to see you. Lord, Jalen playing Jeopardy. Mm-mm-mm. World class said, what's crazy is I literally can't remember the last time I fused out of an employee. Oh gosh. Hey Lana, How you doing? Thank you for coming. I appreciate you. All right, so let's continue on because I only got about like 15 more minutes and then we're going to wrap up for today.
They also don't have perspective. So they believe that everyone should just hop to it when they want or need something. And they also feel entitled to you knowing what that thing is. So basically, they feel entitled to you being able to read their minds. So you get entitlement. It's not just, I expect to be treated the way I deserve. It's, I don't give a damn about the other people because I'm the most special. While not all entitled people are narcissistic, I mean, some entitled people might be people who have always been, I don't know, really wealthy and don't know how to be with regular people, or it's cultural, where within one culture, things kind of go a certain way and certain people in a family structure are sort of VIP-ish, and they don't understand that in another culture, there may be rules, or it may just be privilege and a person who has always gotten away with stuff because of their sort of preordained power and status that they might even have been born with. But if those people who have those kinds of privileges and things like that still have empathy, then it's just like that they're dumb. And they don't get how regular folks have to stand in lines and wait for stuff and don't have people who do stuff for us. It's that kind of thing. It's just dumb. All narcissistic people are entitled. But if someone said to me, pick the one quality that would be a true red flag for narcissism, absolutely, it would be entitlement. So all of that said, we know that many narcissistic people get into relationships with empathic people, largely because empathic people stick around, right? The empathic people, all of you with empathy, are more prone to trauma-bonded patterns, including things like making excuses, making justifications, making it work, right? And the interaction of entitlement in the narcissist and empathy in the other person in the relationship can help explain that. Entitlement only works because the rest of us work around it. We may not want to get into it in a coffee line, so we let the raging entitled super foamy latte oat milk hooey dooey matcha half calf decaf drink orderer go ahead of us just so we can get them the hell out of there. Or we just roll our eyes in a restaurant and don't take the fight, and the poor server does end up bringing them their food faster because the manager just wants the customer to shut up and stop disrupting everyone in the restaurant. Or we just do things the way they want because it's just easier and it doesn't matter to us. So in a million small ways, they get enabled. That's not to say that we're doing this consciously or that we're at all responsible for their bad behavior, but we have to live our lives. And if we got into it with them over every little entitled thing that they do, it would be a full-time job. And it already feels like one to be in one of these relationships with a narcissistic person.
Absolutely. So I wanted to stop it there because she hit some real jewels, right? Because a lot of people don't realize when you're an empathetic person, and this is a good time for y'all to self-reflect about how many times you have given individuals in your life grace. How many times have you been the better person? How many times have you diffused the situation, even if it wasn't within your benefit? Then, if you can name more times of you doing that than when you actually defended yourself and didn't let nobody get away with their behaviors towards you or others, then that is a telltale sign that you are empathetic. You fall higher on the line of empathy, of being empathetic or sympathetic to individuals than most, right? And the problem is that we also do have a society that conditions us to be empathetic and to let a lot of things slide, which is the reason why I believe that we have increasing numbers of narcissistic behavior, and the population is growing. And these antisocial personality disorders are growing due to the fact that it is being the responsibility of these individuals is being put on other individuals. They're being put on other individuals. This is not something that you ask for, but because you want to see the community that you want to see, you want to be around the environment that you want to be around, you have to step up to the plate and be example of that. And being an example of that, you have to literally put yourself last. You have to put yourself last in that situation. Let's see. Word Class said, the one thing narcs feel entitled to is getting away with manipulation and undermining people's intelligence, aka playing in my face, as y'all say. Yep, they do love to do that. Robin says, I think these people suffer from way worse mental illnesses than narcissism. That could be true. That definitely could be true. We know that they definitely suffer from low self-esteem, right? We definitely know that they seek outside validation more than anything in life. They have to be the center of attention. They are like the worst example of a social butterfly. They know everyone, but they're not loyal to no one. They're friends with everyone, but then whatever is incorporated in that friendship, they're not upholded to those rules. They are able to violate boundaries, violate standards, violate business practices. They're allowed to do all that, but they will hold you accountable if you say that those are your boundaries and your standards. This is what we see. Hey, Flora. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Yes, Flora. Shout out to Flora. Yes, I love Dr. Ramani. You remember we did that live stream about a week and a half ago, and I told everybody whenever they get a chance to go to Flora's channel and look at that live stream of us talking about the fall of a narcissist. We had a really good time. It was a very great stream. So shout out to you, Flora. And see, Robin says, I see a lot of schizophrenia and personality disorders in this space. Absolutely. A lot of split personalities is in this space. A lot. Let's see. I don't know who this is, but he said, what is it? Say bump, gablad, chameleons. Yeah. Part of that split personality situation. Let's see. Robert N says, I see too many inconsistencies in people's behaviors. Right. So the problem with that is because most people or anybody who has any form of antisocial personality disorders, they want to be liked. They want to be liked. Right? And they want to be liked by everyone. Everyone. Right? So they'll put on the facade of, hey, when I run around to your space, I'm this, and I agree with you. Then they go to another person's space and they be like, yeah, I agree with you. But wasn't you just over at the other person's space talking crap about them? And they literally play two people against each other. But then they'll say, oh, I'm just in the middle. I'm just neutral. Right? I'm just neutral. And in some cases, you could be neutral. That doesn't mean that a person who is a neutral individual or someone who is in the middle and like both person doesn't mean that they're being fake, right? It doesn't mean that they're being fake. There's certain signs of you can find out when a person is just playing two people against each other so they can be the one that is on top. They could be the one who wins when the war is over. They're the winner, right? And they play those type of chess games and mind games. So you gotta just, gotta be alert about things like that. Robin says, I'm learning not to give a F. I don't care to be liked by weirdos anymore. Only people with a backbone. I agree. I agree, definitely. Absolutely. And see, TMKC says, exactly. They want to say I'm just a subscriber. Right. And it says, they're fire starters. That's correct. That is correct. Absolutely. Yes. All right. So I have a few minutes more. So let's just go through a few more minutes of what she says. And then I'm going to wrap it up today. And I'll probably do a part 2 or a part 3 tomorrow. I think I should be able to do it longer tomorrow. So I'll start earlier. But we're going to definitely finish out this video.
The empathic people will often empathize with the narcissistic or the entitled person's tantrums and fall into things like, oh, that's just how the way they are, or let's see if we can find a solution. Those mindsets, which often characterize any of us who are empathic. Empathy isn't just about emotionally connecting with another person. It's also about attempting to understand the experience of the other person. And all of that empathic understanding can translate into trying to make it work for the narcissistic person. Things like, oh, they're upset, or I get it, it's hard to wait for your coffee when you're tired, or let me try and make it better because clearly they're struggling. Oh, they just want to eat at a certain time because they're hungry. Who wouldn't want to eat when they're hungry? So let's just make it happen for them, and then I'm sure everything will be fine. I get it. Waiting in line is terrible. So when they're upset about having to wait in line, I can totally understand that. These are the things that empathic people say. The empathy of so many people in narcissistic relationships, that concerted and genuine attempt to understand the point of view of the other person. When you try to do this and the other person is entitled, that's when it turns out to be a bit of a mess. Because you are the empathic person who's always making allowances for their behavior. Maybe they are tired. Maybe they are hungry. Maybe they didn't mean it. Maybe that's how they just grew up. Maybe this is really important to them, and on and on and on. And this empathy is such an important, wonderful quality in you. It really is. Empathy fosters social connections. It builds community. It creates supportive networks around you. It's good for you. Until it's not good for you. And it's not good for you when your empathy runs into a really entitled person. Empathy is not a switch. You can't just turn it on and off. The narcissistic people can, because their empathy is not at all deep. It's very superficial. They use it to get what they need, right? But if you truly have deep, emotional, compassionate empathy, it's there. And it will reflexively respond in pro-social, agreeable, collaborative ways. So you just can't turn off the tap. However, empathy can get depleted. If it's all empathy out and no empathy coming in, people who are in these situations don't turn narcissistic, right? Your empathy doesn't just go away. Instead, you become depleted, sad, depressed, anxious, exhausted, even a little hopeless. This all out and none in can also foster self-blame, with the empathic person being more likely to blame themselves than to take a critical look at the situation and recognize that they are trying to keep two-way traffic going on a one-lane road. And because of this, empathic people are not only more likely to get stuck in narcissistic relationships, they also find it more difficult to disengage from narcissistic relationships, and Empathic people really do endure more harm as a result of these entitled narcissistic relationships. The one way giving will catch up with you. And in fact, many empathic people will become quite isolated and lonely as a result of narcissistic relationships. So the question becomes, what's the antidote? Remember that you can still be empathic while recognizing the toxic and harmful dynamics. And that empathy may mean that you're not turning around and you're not going to be mean or cruel to the narcissistic person, but to also recognize that there is nothing that you can do to please them. And also do a bit of empathy gymnastics and recognize that as much as you may want to empathize with them about how terrible it is that they have to wait in a line with the unwashed masses, when their entitled ideation is rewarded, it really emboldens them. It rewards their entitled behavior, and it makes it worse for all the other people who are going to someday be in their path. It's not that their entitlement will stop, but they may become less bold with it. If they're complaining, oh, I can't believe how long this line is, you can just nod your head and do a yeah. And that sort of little tight-lipped, that crazy, isn't it, kind of look, right? Empathizing with their entitlement may be natural, but when you empathize with it too much, it can take a tiger and turn it into a roaring one. Because ultimately, your empathy, like I said, is good for you. So take it to the good folks who not only will receive it as the gift it is, but will also return it. And when that one-lane road becomes a two-lane road again, you feel repleted and restored, and you feel like you're seeing things clearly. That empathy will allow you to create healthy relationships outside of your narcissistic ones that will help you heal and carve out a sense of self and a life separated from the life you've created with the narcissist.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen, but she was hitting it good. She was hitting it good. She was hitting a lot of points. And this is what I want all my empathetic people to know. You cannot save them. You can't save them. It is not your job. It's not your responsibility. We cannot coddle them into better behaviors. We cannot give them the life that they say that they want, because in the end, that's not what they want. They don't want the things that they told you to make you vulnerable. They told you the things that they needed to tell you so you will be vulnerable to do something for them, because they already had their agenda in mind. When they even come and approach you, they scope you out. They're scouters. They go and they scope to find out who is empathetic and who is open to allow me to take whatever I need from them. This is how they operate. You can't save them, right? So when you can't save them, you have to save yourself. And you saving yourself is not going to make you any less of an empathetic individual. You have to cut it off. If not, they will suck you dry, because they are energy suckers, right? And you have to, how would I put it? You have to let whatever consequences that is in store for those said individuals, you have to let it happen. You have to let it happen, and you cannot feel bad about it. You have to let it happen. Because if you don't let it happen, the simple fact that you try to cater or reason with them for them to say, hey, don't make that mistake. Hey, look at the bigger picture. You're making a mistake. Just stop. You reasoning with them is feeding their ego that they live off of, their supply, their narc supply. You're filling it up as if they want. You make them feel that they won. You make them feel that they have victory. So you have to let them fall on their own swords and take your good-hearted energy and give it to the people who truly deserve that energy from you. And like I have always stated, and I have, I have a STEM person in here, world class, and a few other people. But like I have always stated, energy is not destroyed. Energy is transferred. It can become negative or positive, but energy transfers. So if you align yourself with good-hearted, empathetic individuals, they already have a positive energy and a positive aura around them. And all y'all doing is just bouncing each other's positive energy back and forth with each other. It is an equal transfer of energy, and y'all both are fulfilling each other and recharging each other batteries. But if you try to do that as an empathetic person, you try to do that for someone who is not, who is a narcissist, a person who takes and never gives, they're only going to suck you dry. They're going to suck your battery dry, and then they're going to go and move on to their new narcissistic supply. And nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to, and in fact, it's going, in a sense, like Dr. Ramani said, it's enforcing to them that they are right. It helps coddle them and their ego to believe that the things that they are able to get away with, the things that they are able to say, the things that they're able to do, they are in fact correct. So we have to do what we're supposed to do, stay true to ourselves, regardless of the circumstances. Stay true to yourself. But once you identify that you're in a situation where you are being depleted of your life source and nothing is being reciprocated back, then that's when the boundaries, whatever that boundary is, has to be implemented, and it has to be rock hard, still, or still silent. It has to be iron. It has to be an ironclad, and let them fall on their own swords. But that's all I have for you, ladies and gentlemen, today. I'm about to go ahead and head out and go to work. But please stay tuned. We'll continue on with this, with Dr. Romney's live stream. Please hit the like, comment, and subscribe button. I hope y'all really did enjoy this. And I'll just say, anybody who is who thought that they was going to get anything else, I am so happy to disappoint you. Let them fall on their own swords, ladies and gentlemen. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.